My name's Sean Massey. I am the Vice Chairman of World of EUC, and I'm joined by the Chairman of the Board and founder of the overall organization and the Slack channel, Jarian Gibson.
Hello, thanks for having me.
So, Jarian, none of this would have been possible without originally the World of EUC Slack channel and the community building efforts, and you had a big hand in that as one of the founders. So where did the idea for the original World of EUC come from?
So at the time, there was kind of a sprawl of Slack communities out there. And myself and Ryan Revord, who's one of our advisors, James Kingdon, one of our advisors as well, and also Dave Brett, another advisor of ours. We all kind of came together and said, let's start something more central, kind of a place to go instead of having like several Slack channels, other communities, that kind of stuff. So we brought the World of EUC together, the four of us. The nice thing too is that it gave us worldwide coverage. So you had Ryan and myself in the US, you had Dave in EMEA, and you have James in APJ region, so, or APOC, whichever way we want to call it. And so we kind of had that worldwide follow the sun coverage in case anything came up to help users and that kind of stuff, create channels, kick unruly people and so forth. So that's where it came together. And then from there, we reached out to the other individual Slack channels. There was like FS Logics, there was Lab Rats, there was a Netscaler Rocks, and a couple other ones that kind of came into the fold as well.
So what was the thought process behind bringing all the Slack channels together? I mean, you mentioned there's Slack channel sprawl, a lot of different communities. Like what really made you want to bring everybody together?
Yeah, we kind of just want to have like a centralized community. So at the time, they all were not just Slack. There was like other real-time chat systems. There were some like web forms type stuff. So people were still exploring, experimenting. We're like, why not just bring us all together and have a one-stop shop to kind of support EUC?
And, you know, I remember learning about it in the early days. I think I had joined, I don't know exactly when I joined, but it was a great opportunity to bring community together. And one of my thoughts was like, well, wait, we all have the same problems, right? We're all doing EUC, regardless of what platform. We've got Microsoft as a common denominator. So like Windows, Active Directory, file shares, and then, you know, end user experience issues, which doesn't matter if you're on Citrix or VMware or AVD, right? At the end of the day, if you're not delivering a good end user experience, it's, you know, you have a problem.
Correct.
And the ways to troubleshoot it are often the same. It's often the same tools. So, you know, that was one of the things that attracted, you know, me to that community. Now, when the Slack was formed, what, 2017?
2019. So we were 5 years, just mainly the real-time online community of Slack. We bridged over to Discord because we have history and people wanted to use Discord. And then later on, we added linen.dev for like a more Google searchable history as well.
Oh, nice. Now, and you formed the Slack in 2019, then came 2020. How important and impactful was the community in helping with all the things at that time?
I think it was big because we were going into the pandemic. People were working from home. We had the sprawl of remote computing and user computing growing because everyone was working from home. They were finding ways to deal with that big change of having people in the office to having to actually use more EUC type solutions. So it was just that place for everyone to help out and guidance and so forth. And, you know, that big sprawl was not nice. A lot of, like you said, we're agnostic too as well. So it didn't matter which solution you had, a lot of the same common problems, but it was a good place to where we expanded more channels to cover other solutions. And then as more solutions come out and changed in the user computing space, we keep adding more.
Nice. So of all the channels that we have in there, what's your favorite one inside there?
Oh, that's a good one. I would say, so I'll probably say the most busiest channel is FS Logic.
Okay.
The Microsoft FS Logic's problem. It seems like that's always a problem, or someone's always coming across something. It's a good one. I kind of think General's my favorite because it's kind of the gathering place, but also too the community channel because we're seeing people posting their different community events, you know, different things they're doing and that kind of stuff. And it's always good to see what other things are going on out in the end user computing community.
Okay. So now the Slack was around. It's been around for almost 5 years. What made you want to transition from just being like an online Slack community to being an in-person community putting on events like EUC World that we're at today?
Yeah, so there was a void in the EUC community. Things were changing with a couple of vendors, and they just needed a place to still land and kind of keep the community going. And So Patrick Cobble and I, who's our finance chair on World of EUC, kind of got together and started, putting our heads together. And that's when we got involved with engagement with George and Jen, who we worked with through CUGC, and started going through the process, what we needed to do. And then we started reaching out to people like yourself and Stephen and Jana, because one thing too is that while Patrick and myself are mainly focused on Citrix and some other solutions, we wanted some other people as well that had other points of view, like the Horizon side, like Microsoft side, and so forth, to kind of round that out. Because since we are an agnostic community, we should be an agnostic board as well that's helping guide the community.
Great. And so EUC World, how did we get here? Like we came out of like stealth in March-ish timeframe. How did we end up getting this together so quickly?
Yeah, that's a good question. This is something I wasn't expecting in our first year, but luckily we were able to pull together, and just the want and need for it was there. And so we all just worked together, and our team plus our management team got together, and lucky with the help of our sponsors, we were able to make this happen. And it did come together pretty fast, and I'm really liking how it came together, and it's all the feedback and interaction that we've heard so far as we've been all these last few days.
Yeah, and it has been a great event. So where do you see, as the founder, as the chairman of the board, where do you see the World of EUC going in the next year and the next 5 years, if I'm thinking long term?
So the next year, I would say, so we've already launched 3 local groups. Jacksonville was the first, then we had Nashville. Kansas City is next month. I would say expand more of the local groups. Hopefully we can get into the 10 range next year. And also to have secondary meetings for the ones that have already launched this year. Hopefully we'll have another, well, I'm not saying hopefully, our plan is to have, this, is to have another EUC Independence event in the fall around the same time. So 2025, thinking more local user groups and have EUC World Independence. 2026 and beyond, even more local user groups, but then possibly we've gotten a lot of people asking about Europe and other regions. I know we have some people in APAC region as well wanting to expand World of EUC there. So hoping to move outside of the US into other areas as well, not just local groups, but also possibly on EUC World Independence in Europe as well.
All right, nice. So make it a true World of EUC.
Exactly.
All right, well, that's great. And, I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited about it. And, hopefully, we'll be able to get together again like this at more local groups and get some of those started. So Jarian, thank you for your time.
Yeah, just one last thing real quick. I'm just very thankful to the people that helped start the World of EUC, that continue to help advise us and work with us. I'm thankful to the board of us all coming together. Thankful to our management team. Thankful to Brad as well, who's here recording us right now. But also thank you to the whole community, the attendees, the speakers, and the sponsors as well for making the first EUC World of Independence go really great.
All right. Well, thank you. And like, I can't, echo what Jarian said enough there. Thank you to everyone who has helped make this successful, from the community members all the way through our sponsors to people like Jen and George who have helped make this work. So thank you everybody who has attended. Jarian, thank you for your time going over the history of the World of EUC.
Thank you.